Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Boy, it's always a nice transition, even if unwarranted, when one team craps the bed and then two other teams are like emerging into their season. You can just jump onto the Wild preseason bandwagon and the Wolves preseason bandwagon. I felt that last night. I'm like, Vikings, if you're going to lose like that, you're going to score 7 points. I don't need you anymore. I got Anthony Edwards and Kirill Kaprizov in my life, both at the same time playing exhibition games.
GD right.
Mm-hmm. That was, I was at the X, and you know what? 97, still good at hockey. I can confirm.
That's good.
I'm breaking this story.
Breaking.
I feel like that was the debate beteen his weird, shady Russian agent and the Wild front office. It was, I don't know if he's still good at hockey.
He was worth the pain in the ass over the offseason to get the payoff once the season starts.
It's good. It's good. Well, and maybe that'll come up here on today's edition of Who Gets It, Who Doesn't. I will say we have carved out, we're going to do Who Gets It, Who Doesn't like normal, and then we have like a carved out segment for one person in particular that doesn't get it, that we're going to devote extra time to here. But I'd love to tee off first here.
All right.
Hit the first tee ball because I have maybe a shocker for you guys for Who Gets It, Who Doesn't.
Okay.
Who gets it? Glen Taylor. For being the straw that stirs the drink that we saw last night in the first preseason game. For rallying the Timberwolves organization. They just needed to cut the cancer out of the organization. And I give Glen Taylor full credit for his foresight, his great leadership, for rallying this franchise. They played with joy last night. They love each other. They clearly don't care, the players and the coaches, about the front office turmoil and shakeups. In fact, I think it has brought everyone together. There's like 11 or 12 legitimate NBA players worth of depth on this team. Anthony Edwards looks shredded. Karl Anthony Towns looks shredded. You got sniper shooters all over the court like Taurean Prince and Malik Beasley. Glen Taylor, I apologize for ever saying a cross word about you. You see the playing field from 50,000 feet above all of us.
That is the most insincere Who Gets It that this show has ever experienced
What
in a limited time.
I can admit when I'm wrong. I can admit when I'm wrong.
I mean, forget the fact that it's preseason game 1. Just the fact that you brought up Glen Taylor.
Oh, my God.
I feel like you're trying to offset the who doesn't get it conversation that deserves its own segment. I feel like you're setting us up for at least a little bit of balance from people who own teams in this town who clearly don't get it.
I'm willing to admit when all of us are playing checkers and one man is playing chess.
Yeah,
and that's what I saw last night on the court.
A month and a half from now, Glenn's going to do something stupid, and you're going to explode, and I'm going to remind you of this sarcastic,
tweets exposed.
Backhanded compliment. Yeah, Declan, save this. Bookmark this.
I will say,
mark this. Do whatever you do to mark it.
Although my tongue is pressed firmly against my cheek for the Glen Taylor portion of this, I legitimately was guzzling Wolves Kool-Aid last night. I mean, I get that it was the first preseason game, but even Bolmaro, the young kid that they brought over, he's one of the 3 legitimate players they drafted a couple years back.
Sweet pass.
I retweeted the pass. Our guy Key Sang too noted Wolves Twitter and blogger face. It's this ridiculous, like, I think he might have thrown it between a defender's legs, but it's this sort of no-look bounce pass in the lane.
He's going Ricky, full Ricky.
It was full Ricky. And I'll tell you what, Taurean Prince, I think because he can shoot threes, is just a better addition to this team than Ricky. But the whole thing, it was like, there's been times throughout the last few years, especially the end of the Tom Thibodeau era, and even like last year at times where this team just looked like they were miserable. And it's like, why aren't you guys having fun? You're young. You got some personality. But it kind of feels like they nailed the coach in terms of buy-in and the defensive energy. And if Anthony Edwards, this is the first preseason game. If he brings that level of Dwayne Wade energy to every minute that he plays, he's going to be a problem this year. So I know that everything I just said is a huge overreaction because it is the first exhibition game. But it was fun to watch the Timberwolves.
That is a nice pass. That is Ricky circa his first year. That was a very nice pass. I just watched it. I hadn't
It's
seen
ridiculous.
it. I'm very impressed.
And he's like, 5 deep on the bench to start the season.
I love your
that
enthusiasm.
guy.
I love your enthusiasm. It's heartwarming right now.
So just go easy on Glen, okay?
Preseason.
You guys are always so hard on Glen here. I just want to make sure we're being fair, all right? Fair and balanced. The Mackey and Judd show.
Okay. Should I go now?
Sure, go ahead.
Fair and balanced.
Fair
Okay.
and balanced. You guys are so negative. I hate you guys. But
we actually changed our website to clickbait.com. Actually.
Clickbait North.
So just make it easier.
Clickbait North.
negative.com.
Click north.
That's my website. Negative.com. You're so negative.
I don't understand the negativity surrounding Zim and Cousins. I don't know. Have you watched a game?
Have you watched the game?
I know. They scored 7 points. They scored on their first drive, and I
allowed
elected
only
to turn the
14.
game off at that point, so I didn't see the rest of the game. What happened? I got like 3 tweets from people that were really like harsh about, oh, come on, or something. And so I, tweet them back, and I'm not a jackass, and the tweets I get back from them are, oh, I didn't watch the rest of the game.
Yeah, well, I think, also, like, the mission statement on this show is Mackey and Judd, daily sports entertainment, and we want titles, damn it, right? Purple Daily. We want to see the Vikings win a Super Bowl before we die. So that's the bar. Those are the expectations. And when our teams fall woefully short, if you don't like when we rip them, maybe we're not for you, but we appreciate those of you who get it and who are part of the club.
I have only one question, though. If that is your mission in life, where will your soul rest when you die, Phil Mackey? Because I saw that question presented on Twitter last night.
Oh,
Your
yeah, I
soul-
did. Yeah,
or not question. It was basically a statement saying you're going to hell.
It was a statement.
Vikings losses bring out, I think, the worst in everyone. They bring out the worst in me, for sure. They bring out the worst in just random people on the internet. Yeah, this guy was, we were in a back and forth about, shocking, Kirk Cousins' contract. So Kirk Cousins' contract is the subject matter.
Okay,
Relatively meaningless in the grand scheme of life, right?
Yeah, yes.
And he says, I don't even know how to pronounce this word. Idolatry?
Yeah,
Like the state of idolizing someone?
Yeah.
Idolatry is a hell of a drug at Phil Mackey. We want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die? ? You better be worried about where your soul will be for eternity instead of worrying about idolizing a man who plays football. Oh, jeez.
Because Kirk and Donnie Boy are going right. They're going to ascend.
Go repent, man.
All right.
Listen, man, I'm just saying, if Kirk can't beat the Lions, I think those gates are shut.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
While I am more than happy to mock Phil's excitement about Game 1 of the Wolves preseason, let me go across town where I'm going to tell you, who gets it? The Wild for finally putting a first line together that looks like a first line.
Yep.
This is amazing.
So Kaprizov debuts last night, and for the first time in the exhibition games, we see Kaprizov, Eriksson Ek, Zuccarello all together. And you know what it looked like? It looked like an official, real first line, not a hard-working guy, which is what Ryan Hartman was when he was in between Kaprizov and Zuccarello last year, and not Victor Rask, who's been moved to wing but was still on the second line, and I'm confused about that, but this is who gets it. And the Wild gets it for putting together a first line that I think is going to stick. And the other thing is, and I want you hockey fans to watch this closely. The other thing is what we're going to see from that line, and Dex and I have talked about this, and in fact talked about it with friend of the show, Billy Guerin, a couple weeks ago when he joined us on Judd's Hockey Show. What this line's also going to do is it shows you the positionless nature of the sport now. Eriksson Ek does some things. He's incredibly responsible, and he is very good at what he does. But he also does some things that wings used to do. He goes to the front of the net and screens the goaltender, because Zuccarello and Kaprizov are such playmakers and have abilities that good players at the pivot used to have, that it works out perfectly. And so it's really a positionless line. And Zuccarello made a pass to Kaprizov last night to set up Kaprizov's goal that was absolutely beautiful. I guess I'm going down the same path Phil did, but it's nice to see.
Yeah, you better keep your mouth shut when I'm guzzling Wolves Kool-Aid.
Exactly right, but it's nice. but it's nice to see. There might be flaws in the rest of the lines, but I like seeing the fact that this team has finally established a first line that really is just a first line.
See what happens when the Vikings lose in ugly fashion.
We're forced elsewhere.
We go elsewhere, and it's
We're
just
forced
full.
elsewhere.
We've just fully bought in now until those teams disappoint us.
Mm-hmm.
How many? Or what was this? Was this the third wild preseason game?
What's it, Dex? Third or fourth? Yeah.
Yeah, this is the
St.
third or
Louis,
fourth.
Colorado, St. Louis
Yeah.
last week, Colorado last week, and now they got 3 at home. This week they got the Blues on Wednesday and the Blackhawks on Thursday. And I mean, I can tell you right now, I'm going to both because I love watching this team.
It's fun. No, these are at the very least. These are going to be fun winter teams to watch. I mean, the Wild already took that step and became a legitimate, I wouldn't say playoff contender yet, but like they're on that cusp.
Yeah, that's very fair.
And the Timberwolves, if last night was any indication, they at least have a full stable of NBA players. Like they don't need to play Jake Layman for 27 minutes if they don't want to anymore.
Oh,
and a credit to Gerson Rosas, I guess, for assembling this roster before getting fired.
Before they blew him out.
You know who gets it?
All fed.
Story within a story before I get to who gets it. I had a dream about Jake Layman last night dropping 40 points in a game and us talking about it on who gets it, who doesn't. I'm not kidding.
Oh my gosh.
He did.
So
I did see one of his quotes that like this is going to be like you're going to. I think he might have even. It's possible he used Jake Layman in the third person when he was talking about himself, but he said this is like the year. Like he's done messing around.
He's unlocked.
He's going to be. Yeah, this is it. And I'm here for it if that's the case. I just don't know how he's going to climb up to like 8th on the depth chart to get minutes, but we'll see.
All right,
you
back
dreamt
to who
about
gets it,
Jake
who doesn't.
Layman last
Yeah,
night?
I dreamt about. I don't want to go any further into why that happened. So I don't get it. My dreams don't get it. My dreams don't get it.
Wait. I don't think that's fair for you to bring up the dream and then not extrapolate if there's some weird. It's a podcast, man. Tell us all about it.
I'm sure I saw that tweet. I know the exact one Phil's talking about because I saw Dane Moore, friend of the show, tweet about it yesterday, and then we talked about it in my dream yesterday on who gets it, who doesn't, and now here I am, full circle, Curb Your Enthusiasm moment, talking about Jake Layman in the present day. So I don't know why Jake Layman entered my dream, but friend of the show, Jake Layman, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to stick, though, in St. Paul with Judd and kind of piggyback off his top line point and say the Minnesota Wild get it for finally empowering Joel Eriksson Ek into a top line role. So last year, he's always been a very defensive sound forward, but he did start to score a little bit more. And even with Bill Guerin, who was on with us 2 weeks ago, I kind of said, Billy, I don't think this guy has really even still hit his offensive ceiling yet, and he doesn't score any fancy goals. Billy disagreed with me. Billy said actually he does have the ability to score big-time goals. So this is from J Fresh Hockey. He has a Patreon account, and he basically takes offense and defense, and he makes it into a percentile of WAR, wins above replacement, and percentiles around the league. So for our, I'll go nerdy here. The visual audience can see this well. For our audio audience, I'll explain. So last year, he was in the 81 percentile for WAR forwards. So in terms of forwards in the NHL, he was in the 81 percentile. It was a very good
And
very
WAR
good player.
is just like all-encompassing. How are you as a scorer, as a defender, etc.
Right.
It's everything, right?
50 being average, 100 being elite. So as you can see in the left side there, offense and defense involving in his WAR there. He's 92 percentile in his offense last year. He was a very good player, and his defense was elite at 97%. But you see that little red marker for the visual audience says 20%. He isn't a good finisher necessarily. He doesn't have a nice natural scoring touch. I think with playing with Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello, that number is going to only go up. And last year, he was a responsible guy. He's a pest. He's a pain in the ass to play against. But now that he's in a top-line role with Matt Zuccarello and Kirill Kaprizov, I think you are going to start seeing a guy who did score 19 goals last year, and that being the new norm for him. Is he going to be a 30, 40 goal scorer? Probably not. But he is going to be someone who is able to score about 20 goals a night and get garbage, greasy goals, and also show that he's not just a guy who stands in front of the net and gets lucky. He can actually finish, too, with guys like Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello helping him out.
There it is. That's your...
Get those nerds! Nerds!
I like it. Look at us right now.
Nerdy.
Just
so nerdy.
All
you
in.
guys are so
all in, baby.
You guys are always so negative.
So negative.
That score north is negative.
Clickbait
so
north.
negative.
Now you're too positive.
Why don't
Stop
you
being so positive. Why
dial
don't
it
you
back.
Why don't you be negative about the Wolves for once?
Let's throw it back to Judd here because I actually have one that has nothing to do with sports at all whatsoever. So go ahead, Judd.
Thank you very much. I went old school, and I clipped this from the Pioneer Press. I'm showing it to our Viewers, who doesn't get it? And the headline is...
So you're going to rip Twins writers or Sano here?
Sano plans to shed 30 pounds in offseason. That is the headline. Who doesn't get it is anybody, Twins writers, Twins bloggers, Twins fans, who believes this nonsense. How many times have we heard Miguel Sano is going to get in great shape and he's going to work hard? And you know what? Initially, he does. And he can lose 30 pounds in a snap. That's not the problem. He's done it. We've seen it. Here's the problem. Miguel Sano loses weight like normal people do, which is to say he goes on the diet.
He's a yo-yo dieter.
He drops the pounds, and then he celebrates. Oh, my God, I've lost all this weight. Look at how great I look. This is fantastic. Let's go to Murray's. Let's go to Manny's. Let's go to Ruth Christ's. And he gains it all back. And the other thing he doesn't get and nobody helps him with is baseball's the one sport where you actually have problems gaining weight during your season. So it's easy when you're focused in the winter on taking off the pounds. It's difficult during the season when you're traveling and playing late night games. And yes, you get a lot of exercise playing baseball, but it's not a cardio sport like basketball. You do a lot of sitting around. You do a lot of standing around. And so the who doesn't get it is any of us who are gullible enough to buy this nonsense that this is going to be the winter in which Miguel Sano, if finally all clicks and he drops the weight and he looks fantastic. I guarantee you when spring training starts, he might look really good. Don't be fooled. We've heard it before. If you can trade him, trade him. I'm so tired of this song and dance. And at this point, it's on us. It's on us.
Okay, let's actually take a trip here through the Twins clips dating back multiple years. All right, this literally took me 30 seconds to find 3 articles from 3 different seasons. Okay.
Okay.
So 2017, ESPN.com. The Minnesota Twins have concerns with Miguel Sano that may extend beyond the shin injury that landed the slugger on the disabled list on Sunday. The Twins are concerned with Miguel Sano's weight and how it may have contributed to the injury. According to my information, this is Jim Suhan, Sano's weight has gradually risen all season. It is now well above 260 pounds, which is the number listed on the Twins roster. He might be 25 pounds heavier than that. The next season, Miguel Sano, quote, "I'll lose weight and get in better shape." Sano's weight jumped to a reported 290 pounds earlier in the season. And then this one from January 14th, 2020, fueled by new $30 million deal from Twins, Miguel Sano set to build off his breakout season in Minnesota. And the main crux of this article is about getting in the best playing shape of his life.
Yes. So this is on us now. Don't believe this. This headline is rinse and repeat. Sano plans to shed 30 pounds in offseason. We've heard it. Phil read it. Don't believe it. It's going to happen, and then he's going to gain all the way back, and we're going to have the same problems. And he's also now going to not go home as much, and he's going to work on his craft and blah, blah. Oh, he's now going to work on hitting the ball the other way.
Whoa.
Again, how many times have we heard this man in the midst of his big league career had to be sent down to Class A to get himself in shape. Okay? I'm just done.
Well, it should just be like a base level prerequisite if you're a professional athlete that you just like you're within like 5 or 10 pounds of the weight that you're. By the way, if you're right, like here's the weight you need to be at. If you're a pound over, you get fined.
Yep.
So the fact that this has been a story for 5 years, and the fact that now you've got and there's a new regime of like Twins media and stuff too. It's like, and some of them probably weren't around 4 or 5 years ago when these notions and quotes were coming out the first time. But come on, dude, you're almost 30 years old. You've made millions of dollars. Like it's you kind of are who you are at that point.
It's pastime too.
And I get that he hit 30 home runs. Like it's 30 of the most hollow, meaningless home runs in Twins history. So,
yes.
Anyways, Dex, do you have one more before I get to my scenario for you guys?
Yes, I have one more. I'll do a who gets it. Actually, I'm going to save the Kirk one for another day because I want to come with the right takes and I don't want it to come off the wrong way. Because the last thing I want to do on this show is negatively skew my perception or anyone's perception of the starting quarterback for the Minnesota
Why
Vikings.
do you guys hate Kirk Cousins so much?
I know. God, we're just the worst.
Don't you
We are
realize
the absolute worst.
Kirk is a man of God as well.
Yeah, it's in God's hands. Yeah, and I'm glad
Buzz
God's
off.
hands have us 1-3. The month of October, I'll say who gets it. The month of October, because the NHL preseason has started, the NBA season's about to start, MLB playoffs start this week with the wild card weekend, NFL teams are taking shape. Yes, the month of October, I think, is actually, and we've done the power ranking of months before on the Mackey and Judd show because we love ranking things, but the month of October in the sports calendar season, I think, is the absolute best month of the year. Hockey, basketball's back, baseball playoffs, NFL teams are finally taking shape. I think it's the best time of year to be a sports fan in the month of October. October gets
blast.
it.
It is a blast. You get the fall weather. You know,
I love the fall weather.
Everything is happening.
A little chilly outside.
Yeah.
Anticipation.
It's a blast. Actually, that's kind of a good segue because so I'm out here in the Pacific Northwest, and I just wanted a little taste of relevant October baseball.
Yeah.
And so last Friday, my wife and I went to the Mariners-Angels game. The Mariners came up one game shy on Sunday. Actually, it might have been two because they lost. But, like, they were still in the playoff hunt. Packed stadium. Something that we just didn't get this year with the Minnesota Twins, right? So, I guess my who doesn't get it is, in my opinion, the guy on a scooter that scoots up to my wife and I 5 or 6 blocks from the stadium. And there's some people around. It wasn't like a dark alley situation. It's like this guy comes up. He's got like a Seahawks jersey on. And he's kind of in a panic. And we're at a stoplight waiting for the crosswalk to turn to the walk sign. And he scoots up and he says, hey, I don't mean to be this guy, but my phone just died and I'm trying to get a hold of my friends. We're going to the game. Can I borrow one of your phones? And then he pulls his iPhone out of his pocket and shows us he just shows us like an iPhone that the screen is off and says, "See, my phone is dead." What would you guys do?
Oh, this is simple for
Go
me.
ahead,
0 chance. I would say, sorry, dude, I can't do that. I couldn't. In fact, I did this once in the flip phone days at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport while waiting for Dawn by the baggage carousel. And somebody came up and said the same thing and was not on a scooter, so couldn't drive away quickly with my phone.
Exactly.
And I said, okay, this is 15 years ago. And I think it was a woman. She used the phone shortly thereafter. Like a cop came up to me and he's like, "Did someone use your phone?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah." She was like, "We're trying to find her. She's something. She had done something like it." But anyway, long story short, my conclusion now is if you don't know somebody, they're not using my phone. There's too much that there's no upside for me.
Yeah. All right, Dex, what would you have done?
I would have done the exact same thing you did. I grew up in St. Paul, the beautiful St. Paul, my entire life. I learned how to ride the Metro bus when I was 13 years old because my middle school was about 9 miles from my house growing up and was out of my district in St. Paul. So I have been used to people coming up to me, asking me for things, asking for money, asking for a phone, asking for this, and that, and I've had no problem ever saying no. I still live in the North Loop. People still come up over there asking for spare change or asking for using a phone or a situation like this. I have no problem being a stone-faced killer and just saying absolutely not.
Yeah. So I looked at this guy.
Problem.
First of all, don't even ask that question. It's
Correct.
2021, and you have an iPhone that just needs to be charged, it looks like.
Correct. That's your job.
And it's funny, he was on the corner of the intersection that we were at, literally a coffee shop, where you probably could have walked in there. There's probably multiple people with iPhone chargers. There's probably an iPhone charger behind the desk somewhere. Go buy a coffee, get an iPhone charger.
Yes.
And so I looked at him and I said, "No, dude." Like, I was annoyed. I was like, "No, dude. Why would, like, first of all, you're on a scooter." I think I explained this to him. Like, you're on a scooter. Like, you could just take my phone and go away. And he got very bristly and passive aggressive, but immediate, like, he didn't even like try to, no, man. I swear to God, he just like shut down immediately and scooted off.
Yep.
Which leads me to believe that he was looking to steal someone's phone.
Yep. No. You were like,
I try to be
right.
nice, I try
right.
I try to help people.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't. Yeah, but I mean, I think in that case, you did the exact right thing. And I would say this: as a rule of thumb about life, don't do things that are going to adversely impact your evening. So, like, it's one thing if something
imagine that happens as you're walking into a game. Like,
right.
By the way, like, my
if you're,
credit cards and stuff are in there.
Driving to a game or something and you get hit by a car. I mean, that just happens. It's unfortunate. But, like, that's out of your control. This was in your control. And imagine if he scoots off. Now you got to, go file a police report? Like, your evening is ruined. So,
and the biggest difference, like a flip phone, if someone steals your flip phone 20 years ago, it's not really that big of a deal. Like, it sucks, but it's not your whole life. It's not a computer in your hand. And in this case, both of us, my wife and I, we usually keep all of our credit cards and like ID and stuff in the phone case.
No, you're right.
So you think about, all right, I gotta take the phone out, keep the credit cards in my hand and my ID and stuff. No, dude, go away, buzz off. Don't ask that question. There's a million coffee shops. Go to a freaking coffee shop.
That sounds like he was 100% trying to take the phone.
Yeah. All right. So that's who gets it, who doesn't. Who doesn't get it? Random people asking to
I'm proud of
borrow your phone.
Very proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
On the streets.
People over